Here we are with Damon Jackson. Now, Damon is our very first ever FUZO minor dwelling client. 12 years ago, Damon was referred to us by a friend of his, and Damon had a property in Mangere, number 54.
Yeah, 54 Blake Road,
Mangere East, yep. And so you had a house that you were inquiring as to whether or not you could do a minor dwelling on there.
Yeah, actually initially we wanted to subdivide the section. It was a huge back section there.
Yeah.
We thought it was huge,
yeah.
but not quite big enough to put another house on there, not a full site.
Oh, okay, so it wasn't quite that full site.
Yeah.
And I remember you had a massive sewer pipe going through the middle of it as well. Can you remember? It would have been about 1.5 metre wide diameter sewer pipe.
Yeah, that did cause some problems for you guys, I think.
Yeah. So, being able to hand that problem over to us, the consent, was that a good process, that turnkey solution we offered you?
Yeah, well, it was pretty important to me. I was a young fella, or still am fairly young, but maybe I was a little bit younger, and so to have that fixed price solution was pretty good, to know exactly where the costs were going to lie.
Sure, full turnkey, so nothing was expected of you, and the fixed price. So we came and here's the price, there will be no hidden surprises on top of that. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, so it was really it was a peace of mind, I guess, because any issues that you came across were actually your issues.
Sure.
Yeah, I remember them all.
Yeah. And so you're looking at this as an investment return for yourself, so to get more income off the one title, create a second income off that property.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So what we had is we couldn't put another full-size home in that property, but obviously that's where the minor dwelling comes into it. I think it's still 60 square metres in that
That's
area.
exactly right, 3 bedrooms, 60 square metres is what we did for you,
Yeah, so for me it was a pretty attractive solution. I couldn't, at the time, I think the prices were a bit different back in those days, but it was about 120 grand, I think, for the house.
That's right, yep.
And for that, you couldn't buy a house and on its own, returning that sort of money, probably anywhere in New Zealand, let alone Auckland.
Yeah.
So the yield we got off that was phenomenal.
Yeah, phenomenal. Yeah,
double digits. I think it was like 12%.
12% yield back in the day, back in the good old days. Yeah. Building consents used to...
It might have even been more, actually.
Is that right? Yeah. So building consents used to cost $3,000. Now they cost $35,000 to get a building consent, resource consent. So that's what's happened to inflation. Building costs have increased, of course, as well. So the rent that you got from that house, how have you found renting out the minor dwelling? Any problems there?
Well, you know, we haven't done anything to that house.
Great, in 10 years you haven't had to do carpet or...
I've just replaced the oven.
That's great.
Yeah, and that's it. I might have just been the stovetop, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I reckon that's pretty good in my mind.
Yeah.
Even it's got a pine deck out the front of it as well, which I got as an add-on because I really wanted to increase the living area.
Sure.
And we worked pretty hard to separate the houses.
Yeah.
So we made sure there was a fence line in between the two, separate carports.
Yeah.
So they were their own separate living
So
areas.
even though you couldn't legally subdivide it, we could still make it look like it was subdivided. So not two separate titles, but still make it look and feel like it was subdivided.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's helped with tenanting the place, adds privacy and makes it feel sort of like their own place. Yeah. And so in that regard, I mean, the vacancy rates being next to zero. We're getting $370 a week or something like that.
That's good.
Okay. Yeah, so that's pretty good for 60 square metres.
Yeah, absolutely, cool. And so it's a strategy that you look to duplicate again. You look to do more minor dwellings, put them in your portfolio.
Yeah, definitely. If I've got a property that suits it,
cool.
Absolutely, I wouldn't hesitate. As long as the numbers work. I understand in some areas it can be a little more difficult in regards to drainage and that sort of things. But
you've got to be very careful in the sites that you find, making sure that you can legally get the title, to get the consent, but two, that it's not too expensive to develop the site. So you've got to be really careful in the due diligence that you do.
Yeah, that's right. But I guess that's where you guys come in.
Yeah.
You're going to do your
due diligence.
That's right. You're going to do your research on the place.
Thanks a lot, Dan. Really appreciate your time.
Okay, pleasure.